Today's project, while we're waiting for some parts for that Ranger, right here, this is a 1995 Yamaha Wolverine 350 4x4, or it used to be 4x4 anyways. Now, I received this, I believe it was last year, well, he was having some major noises coming up front, and what it was is he's got no skid plate on the bottom of this. A stick came up through and ended up hitting the drive shaft, and it bent it. So it was spinning around, and it was banging off of stuff. It was banging off the guard, and it was just going to wear all the bearings out if I would have kept that drive shaft in. So we removed it. We haven't put another one in yet. He's been running around two-wheel drive. He had some problems with it running correctly, and I guess it's still not running right. So we're going to replace everything in the carb. We got a brand new kit, so we're going to go right through that. This machine has not had the best of service, I would say. As you can see, the base gasket, somebody just globbed on some red silicone there. And, you know, it just hasn't had much money dumped into it, which is fine. I mean, the thing's still running and driving. What we're going to do today, I still couldn't find a front drive shaft for that. I found one when I first did this. It was just more money than he wanted to spend. So now at this point, you know, winter's coming. This thing's not going to go anywhere in two-wheel drive unless, you know, threw some chains on it or whatever. But these things don't go great because you get the weight of the front diff, you know, especially if you got no drive shaft in there for the four-wheel drive. So we're going to fix that. I'll show you what I'm going to do for that because I still haven't, right now I can't find any available. I'm sure if I looked enough I could, but it is what it is. And then we're going to go through the carb, get it running much better. I don't know if he wants me to do all the fluid changes on it. He didn't say nothing. I think he's going to do that himself. I could be wrong, but I will get a hold of him and ask him about that. Let me show you what I'm doing with the front diff. But in the meantime, let me show you what I'm going to do for the four-wheel drive. So over here in my junkyard, I got this right here. This is a 1999 Yamaha Big Bear 350. As you can see, I kind of let the grass go up a little bit. I got to get these pulled out of here and cut it, and I shouldn't have to worry about it anymore this year because, like I said, winter's coming. But this is a 99. I checked it. That front drive shaft is the same, and I checked. The U-joints on it are good. I mean, even if they weren't good, the U-joints are replaceable, so we could obviously do that. But I'm going to pull out the whole shaft of this one, sell them this, not the machine, just that front drive shaft, because I'm going to get this thing running. I didn't pay much for it, and I like these Big Bears. So I'll just have to find a replacement shaft if everything else works out on this machine how I want it to. So that's what we're going to do to get his Wolverine going for now. Customers always first, so my machines will be later. Yeah, I got this 99, and I got this old one. I don't know what this is, but this thing's in pretty nice shape. This is a 80s Yamaha Big Bear 350. A little different than that one. This one's got, does it have high? Yeah, it's got the, yeah, what am I talking about? It's got the high-low reverse right here, where that has only got a 5-speed. So this is a 5-speed plus high and low and reverse. So I want to get that fixed up here one of these days. That's that Predator. That one, I don't know what I'm doing with that yet, but I got another Big Bear. I got a lot of Big Bears. That's a 400 right there. But yeah, let's go ahead and get that in the garage and get to work on it. So yeah, the owner just kind of dumped this off here. I wasn't even around actually, so it doesn't look like we want to start. I don't know if the battery's weak or what. The terminals are definitely loose. I'll go get a booster pack. Alright. Well, first thing I'll do is tighten these up. Still nothing. Yeah, the light's a lot brighter. This is off, on. Fuel on, choke. Yeah, maybe she don't run at all. I was told it did. We got any gas in here? Yeah. There is gas. Nope, there she goes. So obviously it's not starting great. That took a long time for it to fire up. And fully choked. Go ahead and unchoke it. Yeah. Definitely got some problems. So it's not getting enough fuel because I got to choke it to make it run. All right. I like the ones that I don't have to push in here. It makes it a lot easier if they drive. Now that it's warmed up, plenty warmed up, go ahead and unchoke it. Well, so she's obviously in need of some help. Not quite running right. We'll go ahead and pull that carburetor off there and see what's going on, and we'll get that front drive shaft fixed after we get this running right. Get the battery on the charger. Should be good to go now. It's been in here for a little while. Obviously, you can see I brought the old Big Bear 350 in. These are very similar machines, actually. Big Bear was more of a utility. This was, you know, the sport utility. Very similar machines. They both run the same 346cc air-cooled engine. They both have the 5-speed. This one obviously has got a little stuff growing on it. And the engine's locked up on this. So that's nice hand shifter somebody installed on there. That's I've seen that a couple times actually. But yeah, so I'm gonna steal the drive shaft off this. So the main reason I'm having a hard time finding a drive shaft for this thing is because this is a first year Yamaha Wolverine. This is the first year they made this machine, 1995, and then some of the parts on this 95 is a 1-year thing, like the carburetor. Now this runs a Mikuni carb, and the slide. So the slide is actually, I'll show you, but it's a mechanical linkage that moves the slide up and down, versus like on that 99 Big Bear, that'll run a Mikuni carb as well. That one's harder to see. But this one actually has the vacuum diaphragm like you find on most newer machines. As far as this mechanical setup goes, that was a 1-year thing. 1995. At 96, they switched it over to the vacuum operated diaphragm slide. So stuff for this might be hard to find, like that drive shaft. I don't remember which years do fit it, but I do know, I don't think it was 1 year, I think it was a few years. But I do know the yoke off that Big Bear is different. The front or the rear yoke, I don't remember, but it's a little different than this Wolverine. So, but the drive shaft has the same part number, so we're going to be able to just swap the shaft out. I still got the yokes on this thing. I just need U-joints for it. First things first, we'll pull these screws off because we got to remove the tank. Once we get these off, it's a lot of 10 millimeters. And we got 2 more for the gas tank under here. We got 2 more up here, 1 on each side. Go ahead and disconnect the fuel line. All right, this should slide out of here now. Just like that. We'll set you over here. Move that. Loosen up the boot. And this should slide down out of there. Just like that. Got access to the carburetor. I gotta break these free. The boot is very, very flexible on this thing. You can see it's just twisting it. I'm gonna hold this carb and then we'll loosen that up. There we go. Now this carburetor can just slide on out of there. We still got the throttle linkage hooked, but it's a lot easier to get to it like this. We'll shove a rag down in the intake so nothing gets in there. Now we'll go ahead, pull these up. Pop this cover off. Now see what I mean? This is the linkage that runs up into the slide. So when this opens up, that linkage is actually moving this. It's not vacuum. Pull that out, and then the carburetor is free to come up. I'm going to go ahead and remove the bowl. Now, I can't imagine this bowl being dirty because unless he's using dirty fuel, because I actually went through, cleaned everything out. It wasn't that long ago. Like I said, maybe a year ago, or I don't know, maybe it was this summer. I don't remember. Either way, it should not be dirty unless, like I said, he's using bad fuel. Because I cleaned the carb and the fuel tank out of that thing, so yeah. So I don't see anything too out of the ordinary in here. Everything looks fairly clean. I am going to double check the jets because last time I didn't. I just went ahead and cleaned everything because it was supposed to be running good before. And it ran pretty decent, but we're going to check the jets, make sure. First, probably better do a plug reading on that thing. Go ahead and see what this plug tells us. We're running rich, we're running lean. It seems lean because I had to choke it, you know, to make it run better. So, okay. Well, that is very rich, or we're burning oil. It's a very, very dark plug. Yeah, we better check the jets on this thing, make sure they're not like up a size or a couple sizes from the factories. Okay, so I went back and checked, and it was just 4 months ago the last time I had this. I did have it a year before when I pulled that drive shaft out. This last time it wouldn't run. Ended up changing out the spark plug, going cleaning the carburetor and everything. Didn't find anything out of the ordinary, and it was running a lot better, but it still had a little stumble to it. So hopefully this what we're doing now will take care of it. I never checked the valves in this thing. The owner didn't say anything about it, but it's so easy. It's a 2-valve engine. So there's one intake, one exhaust. We're going to pull that off, make sure those are in spec. Because if the valves are too tight, that could cause some issues as well. But I did check the jets last time, and they were good. As far as the right sizes, the main jet is a 137.5, and the factory calls for a 135. So it's up a little bit, but full throttle is not our issue. It's just off of idle. And the pilot jet is a 40, I believe. The pilot jet is a 40, which is stock. Now, remember, if you've worked on Wolverines and you're saying my numbers are off, this is a 1-year only Wolverine, 1995. So if you go to 96, these numbers are going to be different. They ran a different pilot, they ran a different main, and like I said, our slide is not vacuum actuated on this. It's mechanical. But it looks like they did run anyways, the same rebuild kit goes for the Kodiak, the old Kodiaks, Moto 4 350, Big Bear 350, Warrior 350. So that's good. That's helpful that we have a lot of carburetors that fit it. I went ahead and we got a genuine Mikuni carb kit. Comes with all the gaskets, a new needle and seat, springs, all new hardware. So this thing should run like new. It does not come with new jets, which I was surprised of, and it doesn't come with a new needle. It comes with a new clip, but not a new needle, which is, it is what it is. Our needle looks nice and straight. I don't see any wear spots on it, so we're going to reuse it. Same thing with the jets. Those are good. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and start reassembling. I cleaned her up pretty good, so we're ready to reassemble this thing. Take our needle, throw that in there, and this will go down. Slide that back down in there. Alright, once that slides in there, it should operate just like that. I have the needle on the third notch. It's in the center. Install our new gasket. We did not have a new one the last time. Got our new screws. Alright, we get that situated. Now we can turn this over and start installing everything else. Got our new seat that's going in. Got our new stopping bolt. We're going to reuse our old float. However, it's getting a new needle on it. You can go in there just like that. Come with a new pin? I don't think so. So we'll reuse our pin. Our jets are perfectly clean. Go ahead and install the main jet. Now our pilot jet, we can see through it. Put that in there. And this kit came with the new fuel screw, the spring, the washer, and the O-ring. So we gotta find that. That's our little O-ring right there. That goes in first. Then we get this little tiny washer right there. We're gonna put that down in there. Then our spring. And then our new fuel screw. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up until it's snug, and then I'll back it out 2.5 turns to start with, and we'll go from there. So right there, snug, half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. That new gasket fit on there perfectly. You buy aftermarkets and they're always stiff and they just never seem to go on right. I mean, that went on there and I didn't have to mess with it at all. That is beautiful. We're going to have to put this plunger back in. Put that back in there. Then we can take this bowl, flip her upside down, drop that on there. We might as well replace this diaphragm and spring as well, since it came with a new one. Wow, I did not want to come out of there. Spring. Then we'll go ahead and install the cover. Then obviously going to install our new intake O-ring. It's again a beautiful fitment. Gotta love OEM parts versus aftermarket. Now that can go back on the wheeler. The carburetor all on there. Now time for the air box. Now I got the air box in. Like I said, I'm going to check the valve, so we'll go ahead and clean this off. Now you want to check the valves when the engine is cold, and this engine is ice cold now, so it should be good there. We can go ahead and pull these caps off. And that one. Pull the cover off. There's our one valve, one intake valve. We got one exhaust on the front. The front is a little harder to get to. There's not much clearance between this bolt and the frame. Actually, this one I probably can get with a socket, but the one up above it, I cannot. Then we can pull this cap out. There's our one exhaust valve. Now to be able to check these valves, you need to be on top dead center. To do that, we gotta open this cover. This will allow us to turn the engine over because this does not have a recoil, so you have to turn it with this bolt. And this cover right here will allow us to see where top dead center is. This little inspection port. 17. I always want to turn the engine the same way it runs. So it runs this way, which is counterclockwise if you're turning the engine over by hand. So I'm going to turn this over. We're going to watch the intake valve, and I want to see the intake valve drop, just like that. And then when it pops back up, like that, oh, we might have went too far. I don't have a plug in, so it's going really fast. So we're going to drop it, and then it's going to pop back up. Now when that pops back up, that's when we're looking for our top dead center here. We're looking for some markings in there. Should be a T. I know we got oil on there. Oh, what do we got here? There's an F. And there's the T. So now we're on top dead center. We can check our valves. It's got some play. Feels a little tight, I think. I don't know. I got to double check the specs and the exhaust. Just get a feel for it. Yeah, the exhaust feels pretty good. So for the intake, the manual in inches is telling me 0.0024 to 0.0039 inch. So let's see, 0.0025. Actually, that's pretty snug. It's probably right on the border, so I will loosen that up a little bit. Now, I don't know if that much of a difference, because it is fairly close to that 0.0025, but I'd rather have it set at 0.003. Turn that out a little bit. Doesn't take much to change this here. So yeah, I would much rather have it. This is 0.003. I can fit it in there. 0.004. Right there, it's stuck. So we're very close to the upper limit, which is better in this case. To me, a little loud ticking is much better than starving the engine for compression and fuel. Now on the exhaust side, we're looking at 0.0063, which I don't have that, but we have a 0.006 to see how close it is. And the upper limit is 0.0079, so pretty close to 8 thousandths. But we're going to throw this in and see. Yeah, that fits in there good. So I think we're probably good on the exhaust, but I'm going to check. I'm going to check to see what actual size it is. 6 thou fit, so we're going to try 7 now. 007. That fits. That's a pretty snug fit. So we're going to try the 008, and now if this fits in, we're probably going to tighten it up a little bit, depending on how much it fits. Yeah, I can't fit that in there at all. So so we're right on the money then. We're about 7 thousandths on the exhaust, which is what the manual is telling me it should be. So yeah, we're gonna try to fire this up. I don't think it was off enough to affect the running wise, but possibly it was a little on the tight side on the intake. And when these things do get warm, you know, when the engine gets hotter, this is gonna tighten up, so it could get a little tighter. But these are cold specs I'm going with, so we'll throw a new spark plug in here. We'll tighten her down. Throw the cap on. Now before we fire that up, we might as well just go ahead and replace the drive shaft, since that we're doing it anyways. So we're going to remove the guard first, which is a 10 millimeter. Now we can sneak this on out of here. Get it from this side. So with the guard removed, before we go ahead and pull that shaft, I'm going to jack it up, spin the tires, make sure this shaft is not bent. Looks like it's moving nice and smooth. These tires are pretty, everything's just kind of bound up on this thing, but the shaft looks good. Tire off. This thing has been sitting a while. Hoping I can get this off fairly easy. We'll see. Certainly looks like it needs some spray. Now, first thing I gotta do is remove all this grease and grime so I can get these clips out. One clip. Get that one out. Okay. And we'll get the shaft out of here, just like so. So this has a P on it. This is from the Big Bear. These are the original ones off the Wolverine. These got E's. But I did look up the part number and they show the same thing. So apparently they are interchangeable anyways. Maybe it's the other part of the yoke that was different part number. I don't know. But these are the same. Anyways, we gotta replace U-joints anyways. These are, I thought that was tight and it felt it because it was locked up, but these things, of course, when I pulled it off, I lost some bearings, but even that's because I'm playing it. So we're better off while it's apart, throwing some new ones in. And these are greasable U-joints. These are aftermarket. These were like 30 bucks a piece versus Yamaha. I mean, you can get cheaper ones, but these were 30 bucks a piece. You can get just the spider, they call it, this piece, without the caps and bearings, and that alone's like 80, 90 bucks through Yamaha. So by the time you're done it, you're at least 100 bucks per U-joint, where this way, 60 bucks, you get the pair of them. So we're going to go ahead and replace them now. First thing I do before I shove some caps in here is just sand down any rust and any bad edges off of there, because they're going to get stuck and then things will get jammed up, and they don't work great when they're rusty. We don't want to open up the hole, we just want to clean it out. Just test fit one of these. Put the cap off. See how it fits in there. It fits pretty nice right there. Then it's going to be a press fit from there. Same thing other side. Nice fit. We are going to have to put our grease zerks in right now. These come with caps or the greasable grease zerk. And we might as well use those. We have room in here for them. Pull the other side off. Now we can take our U-joint, slip it in there just like so. Cap. And then we'll put that one in there. We're just going to push those in, and we want to make sure this moves nice and freely as we're pushing it in, because we do not want to bind up any of those needles in there. Still nice. We just want to go enough to be able to put those clips in there. And we'll just throw our clip on there. Make sure it's seated nice and good there. And then we'll go on to the other side. We grab our clip, we put it on. And then just hammer that on there. Once you get it in a little bit, it should be able to snap into place. Now some of these aftermarket ones are awfully tight. What you want to make sure is that it's fully seated in that groove, and as long as you can't push it down anymore, and there's no As long as there's no room under that clip on both sides, then you know you're fully seated. Same thing there. And then this is ready to go back in the machine. Then we can press these onto the yoke on the machine. But we're going to do the same thing with this one. Making sure we constantly rotate it so nothing gets stuck. Snapped right on there. These two can go on the machine. Alright, we get the Wolverine jacked up. We'll remove the tire. On this yoke, we want to clean those up with some sandpaper. Start with the engine side yoke. I'm just going to come in here, clean her up. So once again, we're going to pop these caps off, the other side. And then we're going to install our shaft, our yoke, just like that. So the grease zerk will not fit with the bolt side, so we're going to have to put it on this way. And we're just going to press that in. Same thing, keep rotating it. There, beautiful. Now we need to be able to rotate smoothly in all directions, and it does. So now we're going to go ahead and put our shaft in. And just like that. Then we'll go ahead and wind them in. And that one. Now we gotta pull the shaft back out and install this retaining clip. And that's where that belongs. Before I go ahead and put the front tires on, I'm going to install his guard for the front drive shaft, and then we'll give this thing a test ride, see how she drives, see how it runs first. All right, wheels and tires back on, the drive shaft guard is back on. Gas tank's all hooked up. We're ready to fire this thing up. I don't have the gas tank hooked down yet because I figured why do that if we can't get it running right, so you never know. Make sure the vent's good. Let's go ahead, first start on this thing since we took the carb apart. Choke it. Probably better get some air in here. Alright. Alright, it's a good sign. Unchoke it. We're probably going to have to do some tuning on that air-fuel mixture screw and the idle adjustment because we did just mess everything up. So let's bring it out here so we get a little ventilation. Actually, I just drove it out here. I really didn't mess with much, but we're going to go ahead. If you guys don't have one of these, if you work on carburetors, you should get one. They make it so easy. We can reach down in here and adjust that fuel screw. Things really are not that much money. I'll leave a link in the description if some of you are asking. I know some people will probably ask about it. So now all I do with this is just turn it. I'll turn it in a half a turn. Another half a turn. Turn it out. Alright. It's a high idle right there. We'll go ahead and turn the idle screw down. Guess we just gotta give her a test run now. Alright, time to try her out. Raining out a little bit. Try that full drive out. Seems to handle pretty good right here.
good through all the gears. A little pop right there. Does this thing get brakes? No front brakes. Rear brakes? Yeah, rear brakes work. At least it's got some kind of brakes. Alright, we're gonna go try out the four-wheel drive. This thing just feels like a sporty, light machine. It's popping a little bit. Probably adjust the fuel screw. I didn't bring my little screwdriver there, the adjustment screwdriver, with me. Just wanted to make sure everything was working with the four-wheel drive and stuff. She's opening up good. Definitely got no baffles in the back of this thing. A little noisy. Alright. Yeah, definitely, I'll have to do a plug reading when I get back, see what it's saying. A little stumbly right there, as you can hear. So we'll see what I got to do for that. We'll come up here, test out the full drive. Should be working. Shouldn't be any issues with it. It's handling very nice. Come to a stop abruptly. Make sure we're still idling. It is. Yeah, it's just that little stumble there. It's not bad, but we want it perfect, so we're gonna make it perfect. This is a good place to try out the full drive. Everything's off camber a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see that's moving. So limited slip front differential. We're only gonna have 3 wheels, but full drive is working properly. I think it might be getting too much fuel. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna hold it at a steady pace where it's stuttering. Like, where is it? Right there sounds pretty good. Definitely a little sputter right there. I'm gonna hold it right there. When I get back, I'll pull the plug and see what it's telling us.
Well, we made it back. I held it about, I don't know, 8 throttle, quarter throttle, wherever it was at that stumble, pretty much the whole way back here. And then I shut it down real quick to get a true spark plug reading, and check that out. It's definitely running super, super rich. That was only after 10-minute ride. So it's loading up with fuel. We'll definitely turn that fuel screw in a little bit to give it a little less fuel and try it again. All right, we got the plug back in there. I didn't put a new one in this time. I mean, that one should clear itself up. It's only 10 minutes old. See if we can get it this time. This negative actually fell off on my way back, I noticed, when I just tried to start it. I had no light, so I got it shoved under there now. It needs a new end, but we want to see if this is the problem or not. We're going to tighten that up. This one, I don't know what's going on with it. Crimp this in there some more. See if possibly that was... Now, possibly with that ground being off of there and these positives having some issues that might have give us some spark problems. I don't know. We're gonna try it. I still probably think it's fuel related, but we'll see. I don't know if that's actually where the ground goes or if somebody just made a new ground, but as you can see, it's all paint around that. There's very little metal, if any, touching this ground wire. So I'm gonna go ahead, file that down so we get a better connection, and then try it. Alright, so the ground was the issue over there. That's why I wasn't making good connection. I'm gonna go ahead, make sure this thing is charging. We're at 13 some on volts at an idle. Rev up. Yep. So she's charging properly, that's good. You can hear the stumble right there. We'll go ahead and bring that fuel screw in. Full turn, we'll see what that does. Well, unfortunately, I don't have super good news. I've been hammered on that thing because, so when I was doing some adjustments, I turned it way in and I was still getting like a little black smoke out the back, and I thought that was fuel, but I got it turned way in, opened her way up, full throttle across the field a couple times up and down the road to clean it out because it has been running rich for a while. I have this extremely lean right now as far as fuel mixture goes. I mean, it's stumbling a little bit on idle, and I'm still getting... If you clean it out, it's not as bad, but we got some issues as far as... So right there, you can see the black smoke coming. Up front here, not sure if that's leaking the head pipe. I would think it has to be. And then obviously the space gas was leaking at one time. I'm starting to think we're burning oil. We'll see what the owner wants to do. This is where I'm at right now. I don't know how much he wants to get into this. So my suggestion to him would be, I'm going to up that fuel screw a little bit because it's definitely a little lean right now, but we are still loading up with oil, I'm pretty sure. Not great. It's running and we got four-wheel drive. We don't have gas leaking out the carburetor anymore. So it's better than when it came here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and you might see this again, hopefully. If not, well, he's probably going to run it around the way it is. And if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and I'll catch you on the next repair. There's plenty more coming. So I've been messing around with it some more because I don't know, I still think it might be fuel related. I went ahead, or possibly spark related, I went and changed out a coil. I swapped it with the Big Bear, made no difference. I got it jetted to about 2 turns out right now, so it's pretty good other than that little stumble. And I'm not sure, I went through the air box, made sure nothing was in there. So I don't like where it's leaking right out of that head pipe. Might have something to do with it. You know, I'm not 100% certain what's going on with that thing. Still could be a fuel related issue. That head pipe, I would definitely take care of that leak there. I would do a compression test just to see. I got to talk to the owner. I don't know how much money he wants to dump into this thing. I know he seemed a little stingy on money with that front drive shaft originally, so we'll see. But this is the end this time for real. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.